Hello friends, I am here today with a new topic and the techniques I may say, that is how to multiply our vocabulary by adding affixes. Uh, in previous video you have learned how to learn words, how to learn new words, how to remember these words and like that. But there are many words that you know already, and with the help of prefixes and suffixes you can multiply your number of vocabulary items. You can multiply it with a little adding, you may say, morphemes or some part of a word before the root word or after the root word. So we'll see in details what is prefix and what is suffix and all this stuff. Let us begin. So that is affixation. So you will get with the word this word fix. So fixing is nothing but attaching something to something else. So fixing or attaching a morpheme to the root word. So morpheme again is a word you generally take it as a word. There are some concepts in linguistics like morpheme, allomorph, but we'll not go into details, but it's a part of word, you may say even a word. So in real sense we can't call it as a free word, but sometimes these morphemes are bound morphemes and sometimes these are free morphemes. So free morphemes normally called as a word. So free morphemes having occur independently and they are standalone kind of entities, and they have a they have their own meanings like that. But these part of particle or some prefixes or suffixes uh, have no meaning on their own, but when they attach to the root word, the base word, and they will get the meaning. But yes, some prefixes and suffixes have some connotations with it, so with that we can guess how the root word change its meaning after attaching these prefixes or suffixes. So that is affixation. So attach something before the word or after the word. So for example, here we have a word misfortune. So fortune is a root word and we attached miss before the root word. So what is miss? Miss is a prefix. The word pre suggests that it comes before. So prefix, we fix something before the word, that is prefix. That is misfortune. So original word is a fortune, which is noun, and it's misfortune, which is opposite of fortune. So next one is beautiful. So here we have beauty as a root word and we added something like full, and so it's we added after the root word, so it's a suffix. So we have got this, we can make misfortune from the fortune and beautiful and other words with the root word beauty by adding suffixes or suffix. So we'll move next. So you have got the idea clearly that when we attach something before the root word is called as a prefix, and after the root word, that is suffix. So with these suffix and prefixes in English particularly, we have thousands of words and we can create, and you will add in your own vocabulary. So for example, see, here is interesting word, that is decentralization. So you will easily guess what is the root word. So root word must have its own meaning, and a root cannot be further analyzed or analyzable. So here we have decentralization. So maybe you can synthesize or make a part of these words like de and centralization. So we have a new word called centralization. Then we have a centralized process, and then again we have a central kind of new word. So basic word or base word or root word, yes, absolutely there is again difference between root and base, but we will not go into detail. We will use it alternatively here. So center is the root word in this word, and see how many words you have created by adding different suffixes like al, ize, eyes, then Asian, like, and we have lastly added even a d as a prefix. So d is a prefix, and al, ICD, that is eyes, and Asian, these are the suffixes. So it's a noun again, and we'll see how we change all these things. We have a center as a noun, then central as adjective, then centralize as a verb, then centralization again becomes noun, and decentralization, and it's opposite of centralization, centralizing the process or decentralization of the same process, you may say. Then we have not only its suffixes or prefixes we can add to the noun, but even here we have a verb. So work, for example, to do some activity or something like that. So work, works, working, and worked. So here in third person singular in present tense we add yes, that is words, and in progressive or continuous tense, maybe in present or past, or in even future, we add ing for continuous or progressive tense. And lastly we added ed, that is for past tense, past marker. So for the verbs even we add these kind of suffixes, that is it comes after the root word, so suffixes. Here we find the difference between these things, so we make different forms of the same words, and it is also very useful while speaking or writing the things. Then in the next we have done with noun, then verb, then we see the adjective. For example, we have hot, hotter, and hottest. So in this we have used that is er for the hot, and est the superlative degree, and in the second we have a comparative degree so hot, hotter, and hottest, so you increase the intensity of the thing, and these are the adjective, and you can use it. So again we have here the fortune word, already we have discussed, that is fortune is noun. I left the previous job to seek a good fortune in the next one. So I am fortunate enough, that is fortunate, but fortunately I have had this, so that is luckily. First one is luck, so luckily, and unfortunately this mishap has happened, or this accident has happened, like that. So we have a noun, adjective, so these we are changing classes even with these suffixes, and we are creating new words. So derive, I mean. So here we have accomplish, and we have again accomplished, and then accomplishment, and there are many achievements, then you even make it in a plural form like accomplishments. Sachin Tendulkar's accomplishments, or like that. or Vishwanath Anand's accomplishment in chess, like that. So we have then again a word called adventure. So adventure is some daring activity or something like that. And so we have adventure. So as I said, adventure is some daring activity or something like that. And we have the word, new word, by adding us, adventurous, adventure, adventurous. It's a Latin word. And I also come across with a new word like venture. So I thought previously that we must have, it must have root word venture, and then it becomes adventure and adventurous, but it's not. Actually, adventure is a root word, and then it becomes reduction, venture. So it's opposite of adventure, and by reducing some part in the process of time, so it becomes venture. So it's a risky kind of thing or something like that. So it is also used in different cases, like venturing something in business or like that. So it's some kind of taking risk kind of activity. It's a venture. So don't confuse that venture is a root word and then add is a prefix or like that, but it's adventure is a root word. There are many such words, and you must remind yourself that root word cannot be analyzed further, and it must stand alone, and it must have its own meaning after reducing any kind of suffixes or prefixes. The lastly remains the root word. So for example, understanding. So you understand is a root word. So don't make it like under, then stand. Stand has its meaning, but understand is another root, and then ing is a suffix. So it's not under is a prefix and then stand and then ing as a suffix, but understand is a root word and then ing is a suffix. So uh, next we have a centrifugal and centripetal. So centri is a prefix, and we have such words like centrifugal, centripetal, centrifugal force, centripetal force, and like that. So this centri is comes from center. So, and fugal is a flee or fly away. So it's a center and then it's a flying away. So force which goes away from the center, right, is called a centrifugal, whereas a centripetal is coming to the center. So it's like petal is seeking, so centripetal, so it's movement towards the center. Again we have a miss as a prefix. So we have different words. There are many words like as a misfortune we have already seen. We have misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and miscalculation. So it's a negative words, and you will easily remind these words. We have post as a prefix. So postmodern, postgraduate. Post is after independence, post-independent era. For example, in the post-independent era, India is has developed in such a way like that. So post lunch session, many times in conferences we use word post lunch session. So the session after the lunch or after the meal, like that. So post. Then we have omni, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, and like that. So omni is all. So omnipotent, having the all power, more power, and omnipresent, everywhere. So present everywhere, or having all power, that is omnipotent. And again we have the omni is a prefix, and this in picaresque and picturesque we have esque as a suffix. So picaresque, we have picaresque novels or picturesque novel, or so picar is a rogue or mischievous things, or some kind of bad connotation with picar. But even then we have some good descriptions of these kind of people is called as a picaresque novel. And we have picturesque, so having good quality, visually attractive, that is picturesque. It's not a picture actually, but it's a depiction or anything, like it's picturesque, it's attractive, visually attractive. Then we have a tele a distant, a greater distance. So we have a telephone, a phone, phoneme, and all this is nothing but speech. But when you speak to others on some instrument and these people have a greater distance between them, so that is a telephone. Then telescope, we see something from a greater distance, so we have a telescope. Television, there are many programs broadcasting on television, so they are doing programs in Mumbai or London or some Washington, and you are watching them or these programs so on television. And even we have a telepathy, so you can connect with your minds, uh, you connect other people, you think similarly, and people know, that is a kind of telepathy. So next we have super as a prefix, and you have many words in English like superhit, supernatural, superhero, superficial. So super is more. So super hit film, supernatural elements in gothic novels or like that in films, and superhero having more power than the actual hero. But superficial, it's not deep, it's shallow or kind of things. Face facial, superficial, like that you can remind. We have the next prefix as a trans. So trans is across. So we have transnational, so across the nations. Transnational railway. Vajpayee had started transnational railway between India and Pakistan. So we have a transform again. So the form changes into another form is transform. I can't believe he or she has transformed in such a way during these last 5 years or 10 years. So transformed, business has transformed. Apple has started in a very small enterprise, but it has transformed and overpowered the world. So like that. So translate, so you make some message from one language to another language is called translate, but it's not actually related with language even, but translate something in some other thing is a translate. So translate our thoughts into language, for example, is a translation. Transfer, so some person goes from one place to another place is transfer. We have already discussed the center, so we have both words center and center, er and re. So this is a root, and we make the different words with the process of derivation. So central, centralized, centralization, and decentralization. So already we have discussed, and I have just marked it differently here to recognize the suffixes, previous three suffixes and last one as a prefix. And interestingly, we have the verb work as a root and works. So yes comes three times, three different instances in English. First one is we have work and works, so it's a third person singular in present tense. Then we have a boy as a root, but we have boys in a genitive case or possessive case. Boys, uh, something like that, possessive, and boys in plural marker. So yes, we are adding as a suffix x its inflection, and you have to keep in mind that in three different instances, in three different situations, in third person singular present we add yes, to make a plural we add yes, and for genitive we add so yes, three times we can use yes. We have interesting words in current scenarios for distance, distancing, social distancing, that is actually physical distancing. So we are using ing. Then we have sanitize, sanitized, these are the verbs, and lock and unlock, or locked. So from the distance, distance, sanitize. So distance is a noun, distancing we make verb. We have sanitize as a verb, sanitized remains verb but past tense marker. We have a lock as a noun, and we can use even as a verb. So locked is a verb, so lock is a verb, and unlock is opposite of that, and even you can use unlocked. So that is opposite meaning, unlock is opposite meaning. Then we have again the word like college. So many of you might be going to college, or have just finished your higher education or like that. So, and even some of you might be aspiring to continue your education with college, some reputed college or like that. So college. Then we have a collegiate. So again we have intercollegiate, so between two colleges or different colleges, intercollegiate, sports competition or some other competitions. So inter is a word we use in different with the different roots: intercollegiate, interpersonal, internet, and interplanetary. Which is inter, like a trans, it's more beyond that. So beyond international, for example, it's uh, beyond our nation, and it's between two or more nations, that it international. So, and we have intra as again the another prefix, which is within. So intra college activities, these activities are within the college, or intrapersonal skills, that is the skills within some person, or intranet, some narrow net, connected computers in a network, in a narrow network, or intraplanetary, that is within. So inter and intra. Again we have a word like nation. So we have a nation, then al as a suffix, national, nationalize, nationalization, internationalize, and internationalization. So for example, when you call decentralization, you can use it with words like power, decentralization of power. In democracy we have decentralization of power, whereas in some other kind of uh, uh, thing we have a centralization of power. So we have a decentralization of power, and many people enjoy this liberty of power at different places. We have power at our center, and then we have different states having different powers, and even within states we have a three-tier system. At a village, at tehsil or taluka place, and at a district place we have powers segregated. So internationalization of an issue. So for example, some issue within a country, uh, for example, the issue of J&K, it's an internal matter of India, independent India, but some of the people are making it international. So internationalization of an issue, you can in this context you can use these words. We have secure, so we have insecure, security and insecurity. So you are getting this it via suffix and in as prefix. Depend, so different words like dependence, independent, independence, independent, interdependence, and interdependent. So now different countries are not dependent on other countries, but they are we have to live like interdependent. It's interdependence between the countries. Man and nature is interdependent, so depend on each other, like that. So see how many words we can derive from act. We have act, acting, active. Then we have activity, activate, activation, deactivate, inactive, proactive, action, and inaction. So in inactive and inaction is a negative, whereas proactive is acting with more power, uh, enthusiastically, or like that. So all the other words, active and activation and deactivation, these are the negative pairs or antonyms. We have underestimate, like we have don't underestimate yourself, or don't underestimate the power of common man, like that. So underestimate is making wrong estimation, or keeping it low or lesser. And overconfidence, it is not a good sign to have overconfidence. So both these are negative things, that is, you should have confidence but not overconfidence, and you must not underestimate yourself. So again, as we have under and over as prefixes, we have in and out. So incorrect, so that is not correct or wrong, but we have outperformed, so it is positive sense we use, outclass, outperformed, or like that. So again we have ness as a suffix, so madness, hopelessness, like that. We have bolt as a noun and bolted as a verb, and ing as, or in walking, these are verbs. We can make many of such words like farm, farmer, that is from noun. We make another noun but functional noun, and we have a drive as a action or activity, and driver, so from noun. So again, someone who make activity in a farm is farmer, whereas one who drives vehicles is a driver. So with the different functions we make different words. And thank you very much for patient listening, watching this video. There are many kind of such a prefix and suffixes. I have randomly chosen them, and we have this and many such kind of affixes, I say, in general. So you will add many of such words in your vocab. Within this short video we have added or created at least 100 new words. So you can guess how many words you can add in your vocabulary if you try this a simple technique. And thank you once again. Thank you.